Around the removal of immunity for vice president, governors and their deputies. Rufai, over to you.
I mean, very welcome development. I hope it passes till the end. I hope all foreseen forces does not force it out. I made a quick search this morning to see many developed countries of the world that do not have immunity for their leaders. And I think we should not even stop at this point. We should go up to the president. United States does not explicitly grant immunity to the president for criminal acts. United Kingdom, the UK, lacking the codified constitution, does not explicitly have immunity clause for its prime minister. Germany grants immunity to the federal presidents only for a duration of their term, which is largely ceremonial anyway, but the real people in charge, the chancellor, head of government, enjoys no explicit constitutional immunity. France grants the president immunity from prosecution during the term for acts related to official duties. This protection ends upon leaving office. So, across the board, 3 of the 4 biggest nations and big economies do not have express immunity for the president. Why can't we have the same in Nigeria? Because this immunity clause has shielded all these political office holders from prosecution while they go ahead doing their shenanigans. In fact, I recall a case in 2015 or 2015-2016 period when the leader of the Senate president then, was being persecuted and had to face Code of Conduct Bureau. I think somebody admitted the idea that you should even have immunity for Senate president. I'm like, no, that should not be the case. Because they are political office holders does not mean they should not be held accountable. Because the reign of democracy, like I said yesterday, has now become a reign of the criminals in our country, sadly so. These are people that are running away from prosecution in so many ways. These are debarred lawyers from other climes that are coming to do politics in our clime. And to be able to articulate my words, somebody sent me something very profound yesterday, and I have to read it out. It was a quote by Plato. Socrates, beg your pardon. And Socrates was very apt in that quote as regards what is happening to our political class today. And that's why I totally support this bill if it can pass. Where he was talking about the fact that criminals will want leadership positions and democracy will give it to them. Scoundrels will want leadership positions and democracy will give it to them. And it will get to a point that their own reign of impunity will be more than dictators. Secondly, I want to talk about that local government bill. It was something President Tinubu had fought for, to be able to rationalize and ratify those 37 local LCDAs. So I'm happy it's finally getting the chance, because I have always argued for the economic importance of Lagos. Lagos should be allowed to have more local government. Then President Olusegun Obasanjo never believed in it, fought now President Tinubu so much, and then we sided with President Tinubu, we supported him on that. Because the argument has always been, if some other parts of this country can have as many local governments, why can't Lagos have the same? With the economic importance of what Lagos brings to the country. So I'm totally in support of that. I yield the floor.
Okay. I seem to have a slightly different opinion on some of the key issues. First, Section 308. The intention of the framers of the Constitution is to ensure stability. And that Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution says that the persons occupying the positions of president, vice president, and governors, and their, I think it's extended to their deputies, shall not be, arrested or taken to court, forced to appear in court, while they are occupying that office. The reason for that is that if you say that that Section 308 should be vacated, then what you are going to have is complete anarchy. In those countries where you have exceptions, I had to eat South Korea. In Korea, even if you are a sitting president, you can be arrested and you can be sent to jail, as you have seen in recent cases. But these are countries, whether it's Germany or it's the United States, where is the governors actually that do not enjoy immunity. But they can be investigated. Even in Nigeria, the governors and the deputies, the president and the vice president can be investigated. But the moment they leave that office, they become liable. So the whole idea is to ensure that there is stability within the system during that period. What we should be asking for, as we have in other jurisdictions, you have strong institutions. That's number one. You have two, a leadership recruitment process that is very strong also. It's not all kinds of charlatans who get into special positions in those other countries. The scrutiny level is very high. Here in Nigeria, anybody can just walk in from anywhere after printing posters and having a godfather and become whatever and enjoy immunity. I think Nigerians are concerned because of the problem we have had with people leaving government, and we hear all these reports about how much the governor made away with, what happened to the deputy governor. If you remove that immunity, you are even going to strengthen dictatorship to the extent that you can just have a governor who does not like the face of his deputy governor. We say, look, go and investigate him, go and arrest him. In a country where abuse of power is routine, you can have a president who can just sit in Abuja and remove any president, any governor in any part of the country, and he will justify it on the basis of what Honorable Solomon Bob is recommending to be the amendment of Section 3 of that Section 308. That Section 308, as it is, already provides for what he's saying. What he does not provide for is for anybody in those sitting positions to be arrested or to be disturbed, distracted with court cases. Add to this, look at the case of these lawmakers. In fact, it's the lawmakers themselves who should do their oversight functions. In the state houses of assembly, we see that our constitution provides for oversight by the legislature. But this same legislature, they don't do their oversight. They are all in the pockets of the governors. The National Assembly is in the pocket of whoever is president. That is the real problem that we have. Who is holding these elected persons who are granted immunity accountable? That's number one. The second bill you mentioned is the one proposing that there should be a separation between the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice. And I agree, because I've argued along those lines, and others have also argued along those lines. The Attorney General of the Federation, his position is recognized in the Constitution. It's a constitutional position. The Minister of Justice is a political appointee, he's a politician. Now, how do you merge the two? Between being Chief Law Officer of the Federation and being a political appointee who is answerable to the President. What we have seen with that office is that there's always that confusion between both positions. So if there is a proposal to separate, I support it. Number three, the 37 LCDAs. The 37 LCDAs in Lagos State. Now, I refer you to Lin Kuan Yew in his book, From the Third World to the First. One of the things he observed there is that in West Africa, particularly Nigeria, political leaders make laws to serve their own personal purposes. And I don't think that President Tinubu, who was governor of Lagos State at the point those SCDAs were established, and he was denied the opportunity to write them into the Constitution, to have them in the Constitution, will now, as president, say, well, now I'm president, I can do what I like with the SCDAs. That again may lead to chaos. Other states too will say they want more local governments. But I know that at that time, the argument was about justice, equity, fairness. When you will have certain states in the north having more local governments and collecting more money. But the optics that is now President Tinubu as president that wants to force that through raises that question about, using your own opportunity to serve your own ends.